Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now. 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
And just like that, we're off and running with our Friday edition of the brand new live edition of Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you until 9 a.m. on this Friday. Welcome in. We want you to be a part of the show, 256-576-4977. It is a chilly start to your Friday morning, but nonetheless, we're going to have some high school football back on the diamond tonight. The quarterfinals of the high school football playoffs resuming. We're going to break down some high school football talk. Can you remember, we'll just throw this out there, can you remember the last SEC coach to leave a job, a Power 5 job, without getting fired or resigning? So we asked that question for you this morning. It doesn't parlay into anything, but it may. Because there's 2 or 3 coaches within the SEC that we say and that we talk a lot about that could potentially move on. Will Dan Mullen be dismissed at Florida? Or will Dan Mullen ultimately make the choice to move on his own accord for another Power 5 job? Not the NFL, but for another Power 5 job. Will Lane Kiffin parlay, I guess you could say, his success at Ole Miss, albeit mild success, will he take that success and move on to another school like a Miami or Florida if Dan Mullen should somehow not be there next year? So, do you remember the last coach, and I ask you this, do you remember the last coach in the SEC to move on without being fired or resigning, I should say, fired or resigning? 256-576-4977. If you think you know, there's no contest. It's not a prize. Just trying to play around to see what we know. And to see, by chance, if you think any coaches in the SEC are going to not, we already know Ed Orgeron has been dismissed. But will there be any other coaches within the SEC move on their own accord without being fired? The New England Patriots, Atlanta Falcons last night. That was your Thursday night football. We'll break that down. We got some golf to talk about. So we've got a lot of stuff to get through this morning. 256-576-4977. That's the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. We want to hear from you on this Friday. And by the way, we do start with some NFL football last night. New England taking on the Atlanta Falcons. And you heard that game right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Falcons, Patriots, and this one would be dominated by the New England Patriots. They dismantle the Atlanta Falcons 25-0. We'll break that down. Mac Jones's performance, his performance this season, New England's performance. They have now won 5 in a row. They forced 4 interceptions last night against the Atlanta Falcons. All right, let's go out to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Hot Rod is with us on a Friday. Good morning, Hot Rod.
Hey, good morning, Scott. How you doing this morning?
Doing good. Doing good.
Hey, I was just going to say, I remember what was his famous phrase that he said, hold the rope, Francione.
That's not, you believe it or not, that's not the last SEC coach to leave for a Power 5 job.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not. But, yeah, Dennis Francione, a lot of Alabama fans don't like Dennis Francione.
Not at all. So.
They do not, simply because he felt like, he just abandoned ship at Alabama and went to Texas A&M and proceeded to get the everlasting crap beat out of him down there at Texas A&M.
That is correct.
Yes.
Hey, you have a good morning, Kate.
All right, thanks. Yeah, just kind of having some fun here on a Friday morning, and I am sure once we say this, Coach, it's gonna ring a bell. It's not even Alabama related, so that just kind of tells you the last SEC coach to leave on his own accord without being resigning or fired. You know who that one was?
I would say Houston Nutt when he left to go from Arkansas to Ole Miss.
Nope, it's recent. It's very recent.
And are you talking about within the league?
Yeah,
or?
doesn't have to go within the league. Just left an SEC job to take another Power 5 job.
Well, when you're talking about that, Urban Meyer did that, but he resigned and took a year off. He wasn't dismissed. Let me think here. You're saying he left an SEC job to go to another Power 5 job.
Right. Once I say it, you're gonna be like, oh no, duh. That was pretty easy.
Yeah. Well, Gus Malzahn did get dismissed.
He got dismissed, right?
Yeah, and he didn't go directly to UCF. It took a month or a month and a half, and then that happened because Heupel went from UCF to Tennessee. Let's see here, trying to remember who.
I know, it's kind of fun. Well, once you start thinking about it, you're like, man,
yeah,
where are you going? 2014, James Franklin.
Oh yeah, because he left Vandy.
He left
to go
Vanderbilt
to
go to Penn State.
Yeah,
Yep.
I don't count Vandy. They don't really count.
They're in the league.
I don't care.
Oh,
They suck at football. They don't care.
Yeah, James,
They don't care, so I don't. But that's true.
Vanderbilt though did release renderings of their football complex that they want to redo now, and it's
in 2030. Considering they haven't upgraded their facilities much since 1982, so I don't buy it much.
All right, Chad, who we say, Dale? Let's go to Dale.
Now, if it was the little white ball with the stitches on it, I could believe that because they're actually good at that. They're not even good at basketball. They scored 37 points as a men's program the other day, losing to 48-37 to VCU.
They scored 15 points in the second half.
Yeah.
15 points in a collegiate Division I men's basketball game. All right, Dale's with us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Good morning, Dale.
What's up, Dale?
Good morning. Good morning, guys. That's who I was thinking it was, James Franklin. That's what
Good job out of you because I had, that one I had gone over my head. Wasn't even thinking about it because I don't think about Vandy football very often. So
I was first thinking it might have been Dan Mullins. I kept thinking about him, but then I thought, I was like James Franklin.
And I think that the James Franklin's predecessor, Bobby Johnson, he just retired. He didn't get fired either, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think he did. I think he did retire.
Yeah, I think he did retire, and then they hired James Franklin. I think he had been the OC at Maryland.
Is that where he came from?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're right.
So,
Atlanta Falcons looked like crap last night.
Well, that's two turds in a row. They're back to being among the worst teams in the league that I predicted after their loss to the Eagles to start the season. Because they were 4-4 somehow, but that certainly hasn't lasted.
I think they said this morning they used 4 quarterbacks last night. I don't know if one got hurt.
Let me just admit I was doing high school basketball and didn't watch a second of it, and I got a phone call about how
they
Mac was
played
looking,
Matt Ryan, Josh Rosen.
Oh yeah, I did hear Rosen got in, so they're losing.
Yeah. They couldn't start from Huntsville High. I don't even know.
Well,
Felipe Franks played, Josh Rosen played, Matt Ryan played.
I can't even believe Felipe is on an NFL team, to be honest with you.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
It is what it is.
All right, guys. Y'all have a good morning. I got to go to work. I just want to call in right quick.
Thank you, Dale.
Thanks,
we
Dale.
appreciate that.
All right, Chad, who we got now? Oh, that's it? All right.
No more phone calls for now.
256-576-4977.
Well, you know, when you bring up Vandy football, everybody hangs up.
Well, I mean.
Well, except when you're talking about Jordan Matthews and the Madison Academy Mustangs, because he is one of the great players in SEC history. And
right.
To do that at the toilet known as Vandy, that's a heck of an accomplishment.
We talked Vanderbilt a lot. But
you can't get a world-class education there, though.
Though. We were impressed
we were.
with Clarkley. And
until we saw the team play, and then it was like,
well,
long way to go, Clark. Long way to go, brother. And it's not all your fault. You just got a long way to go.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
his predecessor, Derek Mason, I don't know if he left Vanderbilt with anything when he left. I don't know. So, anyway, that's just
well. And then Chris in Mississippi, who's a good friend of the show. He just tweeted in about a minute ago, and I think this was after James Franklin. I should have thought of that one right off, because is Dan Mullen leaving state to go to Florida, which was, I want to say, this is his 4th year. So he left. He did not get fired at state. Everybody knows that. So Chris in Mississippi, we appreciate that.
So the whole point is, will Lane Kiffin leave Ole Miss to take another Power 5 job this year?
Yeah. I think his antenna is way up. I think he's trying to get out of town. I think he understands, 1, he's not going to get Arch Manning. 2, he's going to take Ole Miss this year about as far as he can take them if they finish the drill. Now, they may not even beat Mississippi State, because seriously, the Egg Bowl will probably be an outstanding game, considering that I think Mississippi State's better than their record.
Right.
So, and I'm anticipating that being like a 9-2 versus a 7-4. So that'll be a good game. And so there's no guarantee they'll win that. But if they do, that's a 10-win regular season. And the last time that happened for Ole Miss, was I believe was when Eli Manning was a senior, and they nearly won the West that year. And they lost a close game to LSU and did not win it. But they had a heck of a year that year. Won the Cotton Bowl, I believe, and had a heck of a season. But I know one of Hugh Freeze's teams nearly won the Western Division as well. With a crazy Arkansas game. But I think they ended up winning 10. But I think they won 10 after a bowl game. Okay. So, but again, I just think that Lane's got his antennas way up, and it's a lot of times coaching changes and moves and all that. It's about timing and circumstances, and it just so happens neither one of them's been canned yet, but that there's, I think, an above-average chance, 60% or better, that Florida and Miami are going to open. And so that way, if Florida and Miami opens a couple of places, I think he'd be very interested in matriculating and thinks he can win and be easier to recruit to, even though Miami doesn't have great facilities. Ole Miss has got better facilities than Miami. Let's understand that. But it's still Ole Miss, and Ole Miss and Texas A&M, barring an Alabama collapse of epic proportions and half the staff being dismissed,
right,
is going to go back to Atlanta, and for the SEC championship game. And see, those are the only 2 schools in the Western Division that have never been to Atlanta.
We've seen Miami have success.
Well, we have.
But could Lane Kiffin be more successful at Ole Miss than Miami?
Probably not, Scott, because I'm just telling you, there's a ceiling to Ole Miss, in my opinion. Because
Is
that's
there a ceiling, though, to Miami?
A national championship, several of them.
Yeah, but times have changed. But this is
no.
Miami.
There's still a ton of talent there, man. There's still a ton of talent in South Florida, and they don't all grow up wanting to go to Ole Miss. If you got a head coach worth a grain of salt at Miami, they'll go to Miami or Florida before they're going to Ole Miss.
But is there too many
and if you're a Rebel fan, I'll be honest with you. You better hope Kiffin does leave so you can get a head coach in there that's going to get Arch Manning and he doesn't go somewhere else. That's what I'm saying. Because I think his recruitment could take a dramatic turn if Lane Kiffin exits stage left.
Huh.
Did Snagglepuss say that? I can't ever remember which one did. Somebody did.
Say what?
Exit stage left. It was a cartoon character.
Snagglepuss?
I don't know. It was Hanna-Barbera.
I don't know. Chad, look that one up. Which cartoon character said exit stage left? I don't know. Jeff in the Borough with us on a Friday morning. Good morning, Jeff.
How's it going, guys? Are you getting down the weeks when high school football's over?
Well, I mean, yeah, I got it.
Right?
I did get it.
Hold
there
on,
you go.
Snagglepuss did say it.
I got it.
Okay.
I know my Hanna-Barbera decent. I did
Snagglepuss
get. Yeah.
did say it.
I got it.
Okay.
Okay. I know my Hanna-Barbera decent. I did get. Yeah. I got it.
Okay, good.
Nothing like hearing yourself.
Yeah, we just heard that was a good conversation. All right, Jeff, what you got on your mind tonight?
I was going to say, Drew, I know it's one more week till high school football season ends. Is that a sad time for you to go to basketball now?
I mean, no. I mean, I still like high school football.
We got 2 more weeks
and down the stretch because
I don't know what y'all have left. So.
Yeah, we're in the quarterfinals this week, Jeff. So we got quarters, semi. We got actually 3 weeks, including tonight.
I haven't been able to see, a high school playoff games this year due to my basketball schedule and working it, but I've been keeping up closely, and certainly we've got the Good Hope Raiders hosting Madison Academy tonight. We are crossing our fingers and toes. We certainly have respect and admiration for what Good Hope has done, but we'd like to see the Madison Academy Mustangs march on to the semifinals. And, they haven't been to the championship game, I think, since 2016. So certainly what Bob Godsey's doing in year 3 is outstanding. And we would like to see some North Alabama flavor in the championship game. I mean, and this year it's a historic championship weekend or week because it's at the new UAB facility. That's an outstanding looking new field. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I may even go down there and see a game or two if I think I can get in the press box without freezing. These kind of mornings, Jeff, when you get up, man, you got to crank your tractor here. It's cold.
Yeah, but y'all think 40's cold. So what's the difference? Y'all Scots from up north high. Y'all know what cold is by now.
I know what cold is, but I've been here long enough to know
Let's just put it this way. Scott is partaking in some hot cocoa here this morning. He's enjoying it.
I am. Look, Jeff, I've been here long enough now. I've been here since 99. That 32 degrees right now is cold to me. So that blood's a little thin.
I got a friend who lives in Wisconsin. He's from Minnesota. So.
Yeah.
But,
the Tennessee's in the quarterfinals as well, correct?
Yeah, they're in the quarterfinals. Our state championships are the first week of December, and we got too many classes like y'all do. We got 9. We got 6 in the public schools and 3 in the private schools. So
right,
we just give out participation trophies. Whoever comes, it's happy to be there. We just give out whoever participates, so and everything like that. But it should be a good weekend of football against basketball too. But Drew, I want to ask you, what about Banchero and Coach K's grandson? They gonna play? Heard instead of driving while intoxicated, they were cute while intoxicated. Is that true? I'll hang up and listen. Thank you.
Well, Banchero was, I think, Coach K's grandson was driving the car,
yes,
and he got pulled over and was did get arrested for DWI. Now, Banchero was arrested for aiding and abetting or something. It's something weird I've never heard of. They did play him the other day against Gardner-Webb. I think they did that because I'm not sure they believe that Banchero, I think his situation may be resolved quickly. I don't know about the grandson in that situation. Coach K came out after the Gardner-Webb game and said they were, disciplining both of them. But again, I don't think the situation with Banchero is as serious, or that I don't think Coach K would have played either player because, trust me, the Blue Devils didn't need Banchero to beat Gardner-Webb.
Yeah, he's charged with aiding and abetting DWI.
Yeah, it's something I really haven't ever heard of, but it's aiding and abetting, so we'll see what happens with that. But certainly it's an unfortunate situation. I think Banchero had 10 points against Gardner-Webb the other day. Not one of his better stat lines, but hopefully they're going to get this situation put in the rear view and get it handled. You don't see many of these happen at Duke. I mean, they don't have a lot of off-the-court issues. But unfortunate, but it's part of the business, and you have to deal with it. But again, from what I know about it, I think Banchero, I just got a feeling when Duke did their due diligence right after it happened, that there's probably going to be a dismissal, in my opinion, with the Banchero situation. Because otherwise, if it was as cut and dried as it seems, I don't think he would have played. And Coach K said, he's listening to his superiors and following their protocols, but they allowed Banchero to play. So that's all I can say about that.
All right. It is 7:21 on a Friday morning. And, boy, you are on a roll this morning. Crank Your Tractor and Snagglepuss.
Yeah, there you go.
You've thrown out 2 classics.
Well, I mean, we were
this
just
morning.
talking about exit at stage left, and I appreciate Chris in Mississippi. That's the first one I should have thought of. Was Dan Mullen going from the Gators to Mississippi State to the Gators. That should have been the first one in your head, even more so than James Franklin. Franklin happened in 2014, and Dan Mullen happened, after the 2017 season, I believe. Because this is his 4th year in Gainesville. So should have immediately, that one should have come to mind. But again, Dan Mullen, he's never been fired in his career so far. So
will he leave on his own accord?
Well, that's what I've been talking about all week, that, if I were him, I'd be trying to find a place to land. Florida's certainly not going to impede him from leaving.
Right. But if he wins against Missouri, he wins his final 2 and then wins the bowl game, then I think Florida's looking just for something positive. They want to finish on the positive note.
But here's the
last
problem.
year it didn't end well for him by saying we finished the season after our bowl game, and that was it for Florida. I mean, after we lost in the SEC championship game, our season was over. Dan Mullen didn't do himself any favors going into the bowl game last year and throughout this year as well.
Well, he didn't, but here's the problem you've got with Dan Mullen and Mark McLeod of the Gator Blitz. He joined us earlier this week. And how do you sell it to the season ticket holders? How do you sell tickets? And I don't think recruiting, if you go 7-5, is going to improve that much. So, or 8-5, as I think you were talking about winning the bowl game.
Yeah, if they win their bowl game.
I don't see recruiting improving for Florida. There's probably going to be more people jumping ship than there is coming on board. Now, he can still attack the transfer portal, and Mark made a point of that Dan Mullen has done a good job attacking the transfer portal, probably as good as any coach in the country. And he's going to have to hire a defensive coordinator. But the DC you're trying to hire is going to know that the head coach is, on the hot seat.
Right.
So that's going to make it even more difficult. So I don't know. I think he ought to be trying to get an exit strategy and maybe get to Blacksburg or somewhere else like that. Though I will say, talking to people yesterday, it sounds like, Blacksburg and Virginia Tech, they may have their eyes on Hugh Freeze. So we'll see.
Well, I'll just say this. Their season finale against Florida State is at home, but it kicks off at 11 a.m.
Oh, how this rivalry has lost luster.
It lost its luster, but an 11 a.m. is a dangerous kick.
Any time is dangerous right now for Florida. They gave up, 52 points to Samford
in an 11 a.m. kickoff inside Ben Hill Griffin Stadium.
I don't know that they're going to beat Missouri. Okay,
well, I wouldn't even say that. Connor Bazelak may not even play. So.
I don't care who plays at this point in time.
They'll beat Missouri
because they almost lost to Samford. I'm not going to say anything.
If they lose to Missouri, I'll take one of your phrases.
Yeah,
they better just fire them in the locker room. I'll just say that. All right, let's get a break in because when we come back, we want to talk. Some more football. This time, we're going to talk high school football. Quarterfinal action of the playoffs resume tonight. Madison Academy going to put in some of those extra long johns in the bag tonight because it's going to be a little nippy out there. We'll talk high school football. Madison Academy head coach Bob Gotze next.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Our newest wreck is in Athens, 31 in Ridgedale. Apparently that one's going to be an injury type. Sullivan north of Madison Boulevard still trying to clear. Todd Mill in Canstead had a utility pole down there with wires on the ground. It's going to take a while before that one's ready to clear. Officers, construction workers, and first responders put their lives on the line every time they step on the roadway. Why not make it safer for them? Move over. It is the law. Captain Nick in the 72 in Jeff Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Championships are won right here.
0-2. Come on now. Chopper out to Dansby. Dansby throws to first base. Is this happening? It is! The Atlanta Braves are world champions. The Atlanta Braves have won the 2021 World Series in 6 games over the Houston Astros. Pure euphoria down on the field and in the booth.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Tom Luganbill here for Woody Anderson Ford. When I was in the Tennessee Valley, one of the things that impressed me the most was the quality of the people. People like Bobby White and his team at Woody Anderson Ford. And now you can experience the tremendous new service lanes and showroom at Woody Anderson Ford, at Jordan and Sparkman, or just stop by for breakfast or lunch at Henry's Mustang Cafe. And in Madison, visit Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, just south of 72. Like a great college football tradition, always there, Woody Anderson Ford.
Valley Equipment Rental. Pretty self-explanatory name, no? Tom Abraham here. And look, Valley Equipment Rental is all over the Tennessee Valley. And they rent equipment. All kinds of equipment. And not just to the contractors out there, but to you, the general public as well. Need a skid steer or an excavator? Well, they've got over 40 units to make sure they've got one for you. From huge boom lifts to miscellaneous hand tools, it's at Valley Equipment Rental on the South Parkway. And soon, they'll have a second location to handle even more equipment. More on that to come.
Hi, this is Wes Neighbors. I'm here with Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Sam, tell the folks about Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Hey Wes, our company Fleming Roofing and Restoration specializes in commercial and residential roofing and repairs. I'm a 5th generation Huntsvillian, and our family's been doing construction business in Huntsville area since 1965.
Sam, what kind of roofs does Fleming Roofing and Restoration do?
Our guys are skilled enough. We can come out and address any kind of leaks or issues you might have on your commercial, on your metal roofing, on your shingles. We can do anything, and we can offer you a solution to repair it, or we can replace it.
Well, you guys also do insurance restoration.
Our staff has 10 plus years of experience as insurance adjusters, and we really do know the inside and out of the claims process at Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Check out Fleming Roofing and Restoration online at FlemingHSV.com, or you can call or text them at 256-651-9440.
Hey Wes, we show up.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com. If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
Hi everybody, Eli Gold here. Right now, indoor air quality occupies top-of-mind awareness for families and business owners. Rick Smith and the trusted professionals at Environmental Comfort Systems can take care of your indoor air quality concerns with their state-of-the-art indoor air quality solutions. Environmental Comfort's indoor air quality systems remove 99.9% of airborne contaminants so you and your family can breathe clean, fresh air. If anyone in your family suffers from allergies, or if you just want the security of knowing the air you breathe inside your home is free from viruses, bacteria, pet dander, dust, and odors, Environmental Comfort Systems are the professionals to call. Environmental Comfort also carries state-of-the-art, high-efficiency comfort systems that increase home comfort, keep humidity in check, and help you save money on your energy bills. Give my friend Rick a call or visit them online at envcomfort.com and breathe cleaner air today. Environmental Comfort Systems, Alabama license number 92314.
This is Chuck Oliver. Listen to me coming up at noon today. Now, back to Talkin Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Welcome back to 97.7 ESPN The Zone, Talkin Ball on a Friday morning. Time for us to turn our attention to quarterfinal high school football. And as always, SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center is a proud sponsor of Madison Academy football. They invite you to visit their Saturday sports clinic for all of those sports-related bumps and bruises. Each Saturday from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., visit 4715 Whitesburg Drive. It's the SportsMed Saturday Sports Clinic, and that can mean only one thing if we're talking about SportsMed and their Saturday clinic. time for us to bring in the head honcho of
Yes.
the Madison Academy Mustangs.
And if it's this cold, you know it's playoff time. And if it's playoff time, the Madison Academy Mustangs are going to work. And right now, they are playing great football. They've won 11 games in a row. They are 11-1, and they will take on the Good Hope Raiders, who are 10-2 over in Good Hope tonight over in Coleman County. We look forward to that. It's going to be here on 97.7 The Zone and on WKUL 92.1 in Good Hope, as I know that their community is super excited, but we certainly are because we are honored to be the flagship for Madison Academy football and athletics. And as they try to chase yet another blue trophy and bring one back to North Alabama, it would be the second in the storied career of our next guest, and that's Bob Godsey, who is with us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Coach, I'm sure you've had some hot coffee this morning. Good morning. How are you?
Well, I haven't made it yet. I'm getting close, though. First thing on the schedule after we finish up here.
Yeah, absolutely, Coach.
It's nights like tonight that remind you how fortunate you are to still be playing. When that temperature dips like this, you know it's quarterfinal time, and if you're worried about anything, then you're fortunate enough to still be playing.
You're exactly right. If the temperature starts to drop and the grass is starting to turn brown, you know, like you had a pretty good run on the year, but you know, we hope to continue this, and you know, just really proud of our guys and how they've stayed focused, and I feel like we're still kind of getting better each week. Things are starting to fit together, but when you get to this time of year, it's a lot about, you know, mental and physical toughness, and a lot about, you know, who still really wants to play, because it's a long haul, it's a grind, and I'm just really proud of how our guys have handled, you know, everything. There's a lot of distractions, and people want to do things for you, and all of those things are great. They're good. They're super experiences for teenagers, and super experience in learning how to handle those type things. So we're just excited to be playing tonight, and you know, playing a very good Hope team, and you know, see what we got.
Well, Coach, I know before we break down the previous week and the big win over Priceville and look ahead to Good Hope, I wanted to ask you, though, you've done this a long time. You've had your programs at Brooks and Hartsville made playoff runs, and now the Mustangs in year 3 doing the same thing. You guys believe in a physical brand of football. Last week's game was against a very physical opponent. You know, a part of these runs is staying healthy and keeping guys as sharp as you can. And what do you do as a program? What is your philosophies on trying to keep guys as fresh as you can, but you still have to stay sharp in practice? But sometimes, especially if you don't have 70 or 80 players, and the Mustangs roster isn't as large as some, how do you manage your players physically going forward?
Well, you know, the big thing in all sports now, at whatever level you is you know, recovery and rest and all the things that you do off the field, and we try to do the same things there. And, you know, I give a shout out to our strength and conditioning guy, who does an excellent job, you know, preparing for these times of year and keeping our guys healthy and keeping them strong, keeping them fast, you know, as the year goes on. So, you know, it's not necessarily just what you're doing now, but it's also leading up to this time and preparing them for this run. And like you said, you know, practices are a little shorter, a lot more mental. So there's some learning there. You have to learn how to practice differently as you get to the playoffs. And you know, it took me a little bit to learn that, you know, back years ago. And you know, I had a mentor coach, who tell me that, you know, he said, Bob, you need to start learning. You got to prepare for a 15-game season, not just a 10-game season. And so that's what we try to do. But practices are shorter, and you know, they have to be crisp. And you know, we've had, you know, schools coming in to watch us practice, you know, pretty much for the whole playoff run. And you know, had one, you know, say, Coach, you know, this is the most efficient, effective that I've seen as I've watched other playoff teams practice. So I hope that's right. You know, but just cutting back on the reps and making sure you're sharp. You know, installing a whole lot of new things. It's just, you know, making sure that we understand our roles, and the whole goal obviously is to be fresh and fierce on Friday nights.
Well, what's the role for tonight? What do you have to do when you look at Good Hope on film?
Well, the number one thing is you got to control the quarterback. He's an outstanding player. Everything kind of runs through him, and he's been an outstanding player for a few years now. And he does. He's a problem in a good way for them. Obviously, every snap, if it's a called pass, he may end up running it. I mean, they RPO with him, they option with him. They do a lot of different stuff with him, so it kind of everything runs through him. So we have to do an excellent job of containing him. It's a different brand of football as we played last week with everybody in the box, pounding away and knocking at you. It's going to spread you out and try to create seams and put you in space. So a whole different ball game this week than last week.
No question about it, and they beat a Northside team that I know you have a lot of respect for that ended the playoff run for the Mustangs last year, and so they win that game impressively in round 2, so they certainly have earned it. But you guys were very impressive against Priceville, a very physical team. Mason Cartier gets 145 yards, but he had to earn it on 32 carries. And I thought, listening to Will Stokes' comments, I think he of course he's got 40 touchdowns. He's a dark horse candidate to me for Mr. Football in this state, but he ends up with 28 carries for I think 243 and 5 touchdowns. But what he said about how you guys approached this game and how you had to be patient and it was almost a chopping wood mentality. I think to me it says a lot about his mental approach, where he is, and then of course what he's saying reflects the rest of this team. That they knew what they had to do in order to take Priceville down, and they certainly executed. And it was a game that was won at the line of scrimmage, Coach.
Exactly. I mean, it's playoff type football. It's big time football, and that you got to play one play at a time. You got to process that play in terms of goods and bads, and what can help you for the next play, and then move on. And at this time of year, you're not going to bust a bunch of 60-yard runs. You just got to be patient, and those runs will come. So we talked with Will a lot about that. Same with in the Russellville game. You just got to be patient with your 3 and 4. We got to be happy with those, and just keep turning away, and the big ones will come. And that I think you saw that in the fourth quarter there. We were patient. It's really good drives, kept them off the field in the first half. Finished with points. That's important as well. In the second half, we had kind of worn them down. The offensive line kind of worn them down, and then the big chunks started coming. So that's kind of where you hope you are. Coming down the stretch there late in the third, and obviously in the fourth quarter that you've worn them down enough so that the big plays are coming in.
Well, Coach, obviously they always say the old mantra, the old cliche is defense wins championships. If this thing is on the line, boy, oh boy, you have to have the utmost confidence in your defense right now. I mean, you look at the numbers they're doing.
We have confidence in our defense. We really, really do, and we've played extremely well pretty much most of the season, but we're still getting better. We've added depth as the season has gone on, so we're able to rotate guys in, and that's what's so important. When you're in a game like last week, you have so many bodies, basically in there crashing into each other play after play, especially up front, to be able to rotate guys in, so they don't have to just keep, pounding play after play, being able to rotate those bodies. That really helps keeping people fresh. And going back to what we were talking about earlier, having good depth and rotating through the year also helps keeping people fresh, through this time of year. So our depth has been huge for us up to this point. Getting some guys back from injury, being able to play maybe younger guys at points during the season, all of those things have become positives now.
No question, and Good Hope was really opportunistic, forcing turnovers against Northside last week. They did make some explosive plays Tanner Martin, the quarterback you've been speaking of, great player. Ethan Anderson as well at tailback. So they've got multiple weapons. And, Coach, at this time of year, winning the turnover battle and keeping penalties to the minimum is really the key to advancing in the playoffs.
It really is. And like I said, he's going to make some plays tonight. I mean, he's a good player. They have a good team. We can't get frustrated with that. We just got to basically, we basically start everything we do about who's this about. It's about us. And it's about us playing the best that we can play and being tough with that. Meaning that, some days, you got it. Some days you're on a roll. Some nights things are going good. Some nights it's just an absolute grind. And so the toughest team is going to win.
They really are. The toughest team is going to win the football game. And, of course, special teams will be very important. And, Coach, also, as you said, you're going to give up plays. When you're playing teams, when you get to the quarterfinal round, and really even the second round, everybody's good. A big key is being efficient in the kicking game. Don't make mistakes there. Leave points on the board. And red zone defense, I would think, is something that you preach to your team because, again, you can't get frustrated if a team gets, inside the red zone, though. Giving up 3 points is a lot better than 7.
Of course, and on the flip side of that, Eagle Sean has been just outstanding for us.
Yes.
This season, more if nothing else, just kickoffs. When a team has to start, 85, 90% of the time at the 20-yard line coming out, and our chances of getting them stopped, without points are really good, and obviously that goes way up the further they have to go. So he's been outstanding for us. In the kicking game, in the punting game, whatever it is we asked him to do, and then our return game as well has been really good. We either have teams that are willing to push the ball or basically give it to us on the 40 or something like that to keep from kicking it to our guys deep, to keep them from getting their hands on it. But, the return game has been really, really good to us. We've been able to put pressure on folks and force them into bad punts with our block teams as well. So those things only become more important the bigger the games get.
Coach, ultimately, Madison Academy advances and moves on to the semifinals if
we tackle well in space. I think that's going to be key tonight is just tackling well in space because you're going to be in space to do a good job of putting you in space. And then offensively taking care of the football. If we just take care of the football and do what we do, I think our chances go way up.
No question. And you guys have been so efficient offensively. We know how good Will Stokes is, but those around him have played very well. Bump Bergreen, certainly Carson Crean, the QB, very efficient and taking care of the football. And if the Mustangs take care of it tonight, I think they can get a big road win. But it's going to be a raucous environment. We look forward to the broadcast. Steve Moulton and Glenn Laird bringing you Mustangs football as we are crossing fingers and toes that the day after Thanksgiving they will be in the semifinals of the state playoffs. Well, Coach, first of all, you and your family have a happy Thanksgiving because if we speak with you, it won't be until next week, the day after. But certainly safe travels to Good Hope. We look forward to another Mustang victory. Good luck to you, and we always appreciate your time on Talkin Ball.
Thank you, guys, and happy Thanksgiving to you as well.
Thanks, Coach. Coach Bob Gonsi with us this morning. Today's interview brought to you by Sportsmed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center. Give them a call today, 256-881-5151, to experience the Sportsmed difference. Sportsmed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, dedicated to providing care that improves lives, and they are the official training providers for the Madison Academy Mustangs. Let's get a break in. When we come back, we're going to break down what Nick Saban had to say last night on the Coaches Show. Some interesting comments.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
And a wreck in Athens, 31 in Ridgedale, reported with possible injuries. They've been working on a wreck in Madison on Sullivan, north of Madison Boulevard. And they've had Todd Mill at Canstatt closed because of a utility pole down. They've got wires on the road there. The Somnodent from Dr. Sandman's, insurance accepted for sleep apnea and for snoring. It's an easy-to-use oral device, no mask, no hose. 350-CARE or RandallSandlin.com. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
McCurry Motors is your car and van rental headquarters. You can rent the vehicle you need today. Family in town, sporting event, church function, no matter what your need, McCurry Motors has you covered with a wide selection of cars and vans available for rent. They have 12-passenger Mercedes Sprinter vans, 12-passenger Ford Transit vans, 15-passenger Ford Transit vans, and 15-passenger Chevrolet Express vans. They have 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville.
What can you expect when you shop for a firearm at Bullet & Barrel? Expect great prices. We specialize in quality over quantity. Expect great service. Our professional sales staff is never pushy. We won't talk you into something that doesn't fit your needs. You have the right to make a smart, informed decision. Expect Bullet & Barrel, Alabama's only 5-star indoor shooting range, to support you after the sale. Bullet & Barrel, 3252 Lehman Ferry Road. Like or follow us on Facebook. Come see us soon.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You know, you'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
It's not just boughs of holly that are going to deck your halls this holiday season. It's you decking the whole house with outdoor lights and holiday decor from the Home Depot. Fill your yard with Yuletide treasure like a hand-painted LED reindeer sculpture. Want to build a snowman? You can, with our 6-foot sparkling snowman covered in lights. You can even pair it with a Disney inflatable Sven. You know, from the movie your kids still watch 3 times a day. 'Tis the season to make things jolly, and the Home Depot has everything you need to make the holidays yours. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Hello, this is Kerry Rosenblum Realty, and we're part of that MA family. It's great to see football season back in, and we're at Rosenblum Realty trying to take care of all your real estate needs, whether home buying or selling. We'd like for you to put our 64 years of experience to work for you. We have 4-generation family ownership, and again, take a personal touch to taking care of your real estate needs. Call us at 256-539-9501 or rosenblumrealty.com.
Brooks & Collier has always been about making the most of your outdoors. Our lush greenhouse and new furniture ideas will inspire you, but we're also about value. Our brands are so handsome, they'll make themselves comfortable inside or out, and so well made, they'll weather the weather for many years to come. Our staff can consult you on the right choices, and Lucy for sure can show us the sofa that's the most comfortable. Make the most of your outdoors. Meridian Street and at brooksandcollier.com.
This segment of Talkin Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
Welcome back. Talking Ball on a Friday morning. It is 7:50, hour number 1 of Talking Ball ongoing here this morning. And I mentioned before the break, Nick Saban last night on his coach's show, was asked several questions. One of them was he did bring up the fact of the running back, and he mentioned Slade Bolden has been taking reps.
There you go. I've been saying this. I've been saying that Slade needed to kind of expand his toolbox a little bit.
Yeah, that he'd be taking reps at running back, and that alluded him to saying that, and that got him on the conversation last night, that if Keelan Robinson, who transferred to Texas, he said he would be playing a lot had he stayed at Alabama. Saban then went on to say, Drew, that that's where sometimes these guys are a little short-sighted when they misread sort of what their opportunity really would be if they tried to stay and compete.
Well, and I agree with that. I mean, I think Keelan Robinson bailed out. I think Kyle Edwards did too. They were frustrated and didn't think they were going to get a lot of touches, and things can change. I don't even know where Kyle Edwards is now. He may be, for all I know, on the JUCO level. But he was from Louisiana and had a good spring. Keelan Robinson would have been involved he would have definitely been involved as a kickoff returner and a running back. And Coach Saban's right. He would be playing quite a bit more than he's playing at Texas.
Right.
Because Bijan Robinson is the dude there. So, I mean, but here's the problem for Keelan Robinson. These one-time transfers where you don't have to sit out, I just said it, one time. You can't do it again without sitting out. You can't just start this musical chairs crap unless you go down to an CS program. You'll be eligible right away. So I think the kid made a mistake. I think and remember, he was the only guy really, and they never announced it, he opted out last year and didn't even play. And basically it was a de facto redshirt year. And I know Nick Saban wasn't happy about that because kid's got some explosive speed and talent. But again, I think he made the wrong decision. He went to Texas. They can't even beat Kansas. So it's not like he's making a name for himself. And I just unplugged my freaking headset here. But like I say, but he's not even making a name for himself. He's on a bad football team, not playing. So how good? I mean, how good is that for him? How good is that for Keelan Robinson? I think that's the point Nick Saban's making because you know what? You can become irrelevant and forgotten real quick, man.
Well, yeah,
if you make the wrong decision.
And the comments that Nick Saban made, yes, they were directed towards that, but it's directed towards college football as a whole. We're seeing it all over college football where guys are misreading their opportunity, thinking that if they bounce around and they go to school Y or Z, they're going to play right away. That this magical transfer is going to happen and you're going to be able to play. And a lot of guys misread this. He's not the only one in college football this year that has misread the opportunity to transfer and not play. Saban also last night, Drew, mentioned the fact on communication on defense. He talked about that. He mentioned that last year it was a killer for them. He said that it was a problem last year. He says they've gotten better this year, but it's been a problem for them at times with the communication on defense, especially in the secondary. He did allude to the fact that communication in the secondary in college football has become harder and harder over the past few years because of the rate of the speed of the offenses. But for Alabama, it's been a problem, and it's still a problem back there in the secondary.
Well, it is. I mean, Alabama's given up some big plays, and going back to the Mercer game where they basically completely shut down their option offense, but they gave up two, vertical plays and had some miscommunication back there. And there was some guys that were open that LSU wasn't able to take advantage of, but of course I think Alabama's front seven and of course the pass rush did a pretty good job that night. Same situation a little bit last week. With New Mexico State, but again. Those things are going to happen. You're going to have miscommunications every now and then. You're not going to play perfect. But I think the one thing we've seen in the last few weeks for Alabama is, once again, the front seven playing well against the run. Alabama's rush defense, except, as I've said, for really a couple of quarters against Florida and about a quarter and a half against Texas A&M wasn't great, but other than that, it's been really good. So, and then maybe for one play against LSU because Ty Davis-Price busted like a 35, 40-yarder to get inside the red zone, and that was it. Other than that, before then, I think they were averaging like 1 yard a carry. So Alabama's run defense has been really good. It's been the pass defense that's kind of been exploited a little bit. But, I mean, again, the key is red zone defense, and Alabama played really good red zone defense against LSU. They stood on their head. They didn't allow them to get into the end zone. And really, honestly, another one of those drives for LSU was the situation where Alabama didn't handle a fake punt correctly, and Ogeron was able to pull that off, and they finished that drive. And there was a bust at the end of that one, too, in the red zone where they didn't pick up a receiver. So, you want to continue to mind your P's and Q's and hopefully not make mental errors. And this secondary came back in to this year with a lot of experience, so that's been concerning. What's been concerning to me is a guy like Malachi Moore, who last year was a magnet for the ball, whether it was a fumble, whether it was an interception. He seemed to get his hands on the ball a lot, make big plays, sometimes turn them into touchdowns. This year, he had a couple interceptions early, but he really hasn't done a lot of that. Like, there was an example in LSU, I want to say it was early in the fourth quarter on a first down play, and I thought, Max Johnson was a little late with the throw, and Malachi Moore broke on it perfectly. It was right in front of me, and it hit him in the face. I mean, now he got his hands on it. He broke the ball up.
Right.
But if you pick that off, you got the ball inside the 30 of LSU with your offense getting a chance to score and maybe put this game away, and he didn't make the play. So that's what I'm saying. You got to make plays, and in certain cases in the secondary, that hasn't happened this year. I can think of, against Mississippi State, Jordan Battle did take a pick six back. He did make a play. And then Jalen Armour-Davis several times this year, when the ball's hit him in the hands, he's made plays. But Alabama has not forced as many turnovers as they needed, and Nick Saban's kind of talked about that throughout the season.
The last thing I'll leave you with is Saban said he did challenge the players, and he challenged the leadership on the team to make sure that they go about and do things the right way. He says Arkansas is a good team. I don't know why anybody would think they don't have a good team. So that's what Nick Saban, some of the excerpts, highlights from the Nick Saban show last night. He, if you listened to the show last night,
it's a mindset game. That's what he's been talking about.
The tone that he had last night was, hey, listen, this isn't going to be easy. At least he's saying it's not going to be easy. I don't think it's going to be easy. This Arkansas team is an improved team, but he's foreshadowing, I think, what we're going to see Saturday inside Bryant-Denny Stadium.
Yeah, he wants to make sure that they're ready to play and they're ready to be physical, because Arkansas is certainly going to challenge you at the line of scrimmage, because that's the kind of coach Sam Pittman is. They ain't going to reinvent the wheel. They're going to try to run over you, and you have to be ready to play.
All right, speaking of being ready to play, Good Hope's going to be ready to play tonight. Their head coach, Alan Scott, going to be ready to join us after we come back from the break. We're going to talk high school football next.
Hi folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford. And while placing a custom factory order is a smart way to save big and get exactly what you want, it's not suited for everybody. Right now, during our year-end sales event, choose from the best selection we've had in months of 2021 F-150, Explorer, and Edge. These Fords are on the ground and ready for your driveway. Woody Anderson Ford has financing as low as 0% for up to 60 months on most 21 models, and 22 Edge has up to $2,000 in bonus cash. If you're like me, you've seen more and more Bronco Sports running the roads in Huntsville and Madison. Come take one for a test drive and you'll see why folks rave about it. It's Woody Anderson Ford's year-end sales event with 0% financing for 60 months or up to $2,000 in bonus cash, and it all ends November 30th. Come in to Woody Anderson Ford. We're America's best-selling brand. Woody Anderson Ford, corner of Jordan Lane and Sparkman Drive. Hope to see you soon.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
A haven't heard an update on Todd Mill and Canstead. Had a utility pole down there with wires on the ground. They had that whole intersection closed. Sullivan north of Madison Boulevard should be about ready to clear, and Athens 31 in Ridgedale also should be about wrapped up. You get 3 pieces of the crispy tender chicken and a buttermilk biscuit for $4.99 at Popeyes. University in Jordan, 72 in Jeff and North Parkway. Captain Nick in the Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Mostly sunny skies this afternoon, though. It is going to be a cool Friday across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. Temperatures only climbing into the low and mid-50s, dropping into the mid-30s as we head into the overnight. A partly sunny sky for your Saturday. Overall, it's not going to be a bad first half of the weekend. Temperatures hanging out in the upper 50s, lower 60s, dropping into the low and mid-40s through the overnight. A mostly cloudy sky for your Sunday. Some rain is possible as we head into Sunday night, early into Monday morning. Highs hanging out in the low and mid-60s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. Welcome to Talkin Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
Indeed, welcome back to Talking Ball. It is hour number 2 of our Friday edition here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. And it is quarterfinal football time in the state of Alabama. Yes, the temperature may read, 35 degrees. I'm just going to say around this morning because it's a little chilly, but we've got quarterfinal play going on throughout the state of Alabama. And if you're trying to find those extra pair of long johns or the gloves or that blanket for tonight, it's a good thing because that means your team is playing football. And tonight, the Good Hope Raiders. Now, we said, Drew, back in the very beginning of the Class 4A playoffs, that there were certain teams that you may want to keep an eye on.
Right.
Madison Academy was one of them. Northside was another team that we thought, okay, maybe has a chance to win a few games along the way. Madison County nearly got them in round 1. Good Hope comes out and says, we got you.
Yeah, absolutely. They're an outstanding program. I said earlier they were 10-2. They're actually 9-3, but one of those was a forfeit that I think they would have won. I'm just going to go ahead and say that. I think they would be a 10-2 football team, but certainly they bounced back from a slow start. They've been really playing great football lately, and they're on an outstanding playoff run. And they're coming off probably, I'd say, their best performance of the year when you talk about what's at stake and how good a program Northside has been. Northside was number 4 in the state of Alabama, a 35-21 win for Good Hope. Before that, they took on Central of Florence at home, winning that game 27-24, and now they will be back at W. Shavel Stadium tonight, and we will be there, 97.7 The Zone, for this clash in 4A, this quarterfinal. And, of course, Good Hope was the runner-up, the 2 seed out of 4A Region 6. And Alan Scott, now in his 7th year with that program, has done an outstanding job. They've become a perennial football playoff program, and he's now going to join us for the first time on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. And we always enjoy expanding our 97.7 The Zone family. And I know we can be heard in Coleman, and we're glad that we're going to be on WKUL tonight as well. And Coach Scott is with us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline right now. Good morning, Coach. You're with Drew and Scott.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Good morning, Coach. And, man, what a win last week, 35-21 over Northside to move into the quarterfinals. And it's always great when you get to talk quarterfinal football and not break down another team, but break down your own team to be playing this late in the season.
It is. And, Scott, this is only the 4th time in school history they've been to the quarter, so this is a historic season for Good Hope.
Yes, sir. First and foremost, I just want to say how thankful we are to be in this position.
Mm-hmm.
These guys really didn't get a lot of press this year. Like you said, we started off 0-2, one of those being a tough loss to West Morgan, another one with a kind of a COVID loss, I guess you'd say, with having to forfeit the game with West Point. But since, after that, we reeled off a few wins. We're able to beat Etowah over there at their place. I think it was their first home loss in the region since 2014. And I think at that point our guys maybe thought, well, maybe we can play a little bit. And so we tried to finish strong. Aniana got us in the last regular season game, which you see there in the quarterfinals as well. They're a really good football team. And won out against Central. That was a tough ball game. And then last week over at Northside, just a really good team win, and our kids are excited. So we're, just thankful, like I said, to be in this position.
No question, Coach. And you're led by a couple of special players, at the quarterback and running back position. We were just talking about those guys with Coach Bob Godsey, who joined us in the hour number one. Certainly, he was lauding Tanner Malin, your quarterback, who's an outstanding player. And then Ethan Anderson, the tailback, as well. You guys have some outstanding skill players, and both of them made explosive plays and played exceptional football on the road in Tuscaloosa, or really in Northport last week.
Yeah, I to be the ones that are vocal and that work the hardest, and you'd be hard-pressed to find anybody on our team that would try to outwork those two. They don't take anything for granted. They have a good heads on their shoulders. They're not going to get too high on themselves. They want to be humble and hungry, and the way they approach every week is the same. And so I'm just couldn't be prouder of them. Tanner's been starting for us since he was a ninth grader. He started in the secondary on another quarterfinal run, and so just been an integral part of our program for the last 4 years.
Coach, you look at the game last week. How big was it to go up 14-7 on the road at the half over a talented Northside team?
I think it just gives you confidence. The way the game started, they were able to punch it in early and go up 7-0, and then on our third play from scrimmage, we threw an interception. So our kids could have definitely folded at that point and thought, well, maybe this is not our night, but our defense held on a fourth down. Ethan broke about a 60-yard run at the last play of the first quarter, and at that point in the second quarter, it just turned into a battle, and we were able to kind of keep them out right before the half, which was huge. I think they got down to about the 10-yard line, and to go in at 14-7, you just felt like, well, if we'll just play our game, we're going to be okay.
Coach, we talked to Bob Godsey about this as well. A lot of times in playoff football, special teams is huge, of course, and not making mistakes in that part of the game, and also taking advantage of block punts, kickoff, punt return. But especially defensively in the red zone, you just talked about holding them inside the 10. If you can make a team kick a field goal or hold them out, even if they drive the football, it's kind of a bend but don't break situation. But if your team can kind of stand on its head in the red zone, those kind of stands mean so much, and they're magnified in the playoffs.
Yes, sir, absolutely. I'm the defensive coordinator as well, and so obviously I want to take pride in defense. But we're kind of a bend but don't break. You said it. We're kind of a no-name defense. We've got a lot of new starters this year. We lost about 15 starters from last year on both sides of the ball, so we were having to, especially early on in this season, really try to build some depth and experience. But so kind of a no-name defense. We're not going to try to, we don't have any shutouts. We don't just come out and impress you probably visually when you see us, but our kids just try to play hard and try to do what we ask them to, and I really appreciate that about them. We had a goal line stand against Etowah from the 1 foot line in that game, and so it just it just builds your confidence in what you can do. But obviously, looking at Madison Academy, good grief, I don't want them to be anywhere near the goal line because they're so potent on offense.
Well, Coach, what kind of run? What has this done to the school? What has this done for the football program as a whole, getting this far into the playoffs and getting a chance just to play in front of the home crowd? I mean, these are nights these kids are never, ever going to forget.
Yeah, just the feeling is thankfulness. I know we're coming up on Thanksgiving. I'm a believer. Jesus is my Savior. He's been so good to me. And what he's given us and what God has given us this season, I think these kids are not taking it for granted. They just want to keep playing. That seems to be the attitude. And a lot of times in the playoffs, you get to that point and your kids are kind of done. I mean, I've been there before with some teams, and They just have that attitude of, I think we've accomplished all we want to accomplish, but these guys and this community have rallied, and I think this is the second quarterfinal game in Good Hope history at home. So I know that our fans are going to show up and be loud and really love our kids.
Yeah, it's going to be a great environment. There's no doubt about that. And Coach, I know you mentioned Madison Academy and watching them on film. First of all, offensively, as they match up with your defense, what has impressed you about the Mustangs?
Well, everything. Can I just lump it together? Their line is huge. They get after it. They're so sound in everything they do. Obviously, the running back stands out when you pop in the film. I mean, he is just phenomenal. He's electric when he gets the football, and the quarterback makes really good decisions. He's a big, tall, strong young man that throws the ball well downfield, and he's got receivers everywhere that are capable and can fly and do a great job. And it's just it's probably the best team that I've ever seen on film that I've had to go up against.
Wow.
Wow, that's saying a lot, Coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, and I know there's coach speak and there's things that you say, but I can in good faith say that because they're total. And again, I'm looking at it from an offense, their offense, but then you turn on the film and watch their defense, and they've got 11 seniors on that side of the ball, and from what I understand, a young man that may be going to Michigan and has all kind of offers, and there's just all kind of guys around him that just fly to the football and make plays, and they're just sound in everything they do.
And Coach, I mean, for your squad, I know you've got some seniors that mean a lot to your program. I know you lost 15 starters from a year ago. How many seniors on this squad?
We have 17 seniors this year, and probably about 6 or 7 of those may start on either side of the ball. So they've meant a lot to this program, and every year you just look at them and you think, man, how in the world are we going to do this without them? And I'm saying the same thing this year. So Tanner and Ethan and a lot of those guys just have meant so much, and so we definitely lean on them.
No question about that. And then for your football team and your community, I know that again this is going to be I'm sure a standing room only crowd. And that's what I've been a part of atmospheres like that. I was part of one last year in the semifinals when the Fife Red Devils beat Piedmont, and it was just such a over at Fife, and it was cold, but and I think it even rained that night. We were under a tent, but the atmosphere was still so special. This is going to be a great one tonight. I know as you said you've watched film, you're very impressed with Madison Academy. They also have an outstanding kicker and punter in Vashon. What are going to be the keys for your team offensively and defensively, and of course in the kicking game to get a win tonight and move on to the semifinals?
Well, you definitely said it there with the special teams. I mean, when you pop in the film and he's kicking it from the 40, 45 yards and got plenty of leg, it's amazing. And then on his kickoffs, putting it in the end zone and pretty much guaranteeing that you have to drive an extra 15 or 20 yards past what a normal high school drive would start on. And I really believe that good things have to go in our way early. When you play a team like Madison Academy with their tradition and kind of that aura about them, sometimes you can get caught up in that. So hopefully our kids will kind of be grounded and just try to play our game. And, obviously ball control, if we can do that, that would help keeping it away from their offense. And then somehow, some way, and if y'all got any tricks, I'll take them tonight, but stopping number 3 from breaking those long runs, because every film you see, people can bottle him up for a time, but he's always going to break out. And if we can do those things, then we would have a shot, but we got a tall mountain to climb.
Oh, obviously, too, Coach, it's the postseason. It's the self-inflicted mistakes that you have to try to avoid, the penalties, the little things that you have to try to play and avoid. At this point, when you're playing a team like Madison Academy, you almost have to play that perfect game.
Yes, sir, and that's your goal. I mean, every week you try your best to play a perfect game, knowing that you are going to fail at different times. But you said it. not only does every yard matter, every inch matters. I mean, if it we've seen it come down to the sticks before on that fourth down play, and they bring them out, and it's an inch short or it's an inch long, and for those kind of things to go your way tonight is going to be critical for us.
Yeah, and of course, winning that turnover battle. You guys were very opportunistic at Northside last week and beating a really good football team to get to this point in round 3. And again, it's going to be an honor for us, Steve Moulton, Glenn Laird, being on the call over in Good Hope. We're looking forward to the atmosphere, looking forward to some outstanding football. Your program has become a perennial playoff one. Again, this is one of the best years in Good Hope history, but it's a well-earned accomplishment. 17 seniors have led the way, led by Tanner Malin and, of course, Ethan Anderson. But, Coach, we appreciate your time. We certainly look forward to a great game tonight. And, again, I've got some good friends over there in Coleman County that, helped us kind of coordinate this broadcast situation. And so we really look forward to being there tonight and being a part of a great atmosphere. But good luck to the Good Hope Raiders, and we certainly appreciate you joining us this morning.
Well, we really appreciate you guys reaching out to us and having me on this morning, and hope you guys have a safe trip down. Look forward to seeing you.
Yes, sir.
Thanks,
Thank
Coach.
you, Coach.
All right, that's some good stuff there, as we will have New Hope, or Good Hope, and Madison Academy tonight. That was
the
head
Good Hope
coach
Raiders, yep.
Alan Scott from Good Hope, talking a little high school football. It's going to be a great night all around the area. In Class 2A, we still have a couple teams left. Mars Hill Bible is going to take on Spring Garden this evening in the 2A bracket. In Class 3A, Fife will have their hands full taking on Sachs this evening. That's going to be a good one. Piedmont will take on Winfield in the other bracket there. In Class 5A, Fairview still alive. They're going to take on Parker this evening. And in Class 1A, Decatur Heritage is going to take on Pickens County. And,
are they going to score 76 tonight?
I don't know. What is Braylon going to do tonight? 11 touchdowns last week.
Got to keep Steve Meek's run going.
Yes, obviously.
Class act there, and he's going to be retiring at the end of this year, but hopefully they can have some success against Michael Williams, former Alabama tight end in Pickens County. Pickens County trying to go back to the semifinals for the second straight year, and I believe they went to the they're just a perennial power, but certainly they've ended a couple of Decatur Heritage runs the last 3 years. But so that's a big game tonight. We're going to be rooting hard for Coach Meek. He's always been great to us, and hopefully Decatur Heritage can get that big win. But don't forget, Scott, on the opposite side of that Madison Academy bracket is Brooks. Brooks will be hosting Aniana. You heard Coach Scott talking about Aniana being a great football team. They were the champions of that 4A Region 6, and so that's who the Brooks Lions, undefeated right now, this would be a school record for wins if they win tonight, but they're going to be hosting those guys from Aniana.
Last week, Braden Kyle, 11 touchdowns.
Unbelievable. State record, right?
Rushing yards, 350, 18 rushes for 358 rushing yards.
Mm-hmm.
He had 8 rushing touchdowns and 3 passing touchdowns, did Braden Kyle from Decatur Heritage.
Mm-hmm.
So that is some high school football talk right there. Don't forget, we'll have Madison Academy Good Hope tonight, 7 o'clock, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. So take a little extra blanket, take a little extra stuff there.
And some hot chocolate. Scott's already had one cup of it today.
Look, I'm telling you right now, when we moved buildings.
Yeah, it's kind of a.
Okay.
I may have to nickname this place the freezer or something. This up here, it's kind of cold, you know. It's not hot. In our old place, it was like a hot box. Okay.
Yes.
Now this one's more like the freezer.
But we have the ability now, because we're high tech.
Yeah.
We have a Keurig. Well, I shouldn't say we do.
Well,
our downstairs,
our outstanding owner.
Yes,
proprietor.
Our co-tenants, Neighbors Wealth Management.
That's the best way to put it, yes.
Has a Keurig now that we can use. And said hot chocolate is available in said Keurig.
I just need to find some sugar-free hot chocolate.
Well, that is dark hot chocolate that comes through the Keurig, and it is phenomenal. And I shouldn't have it, but I do. And it is good. Let's get a break in. When we come back, Arkansas set to visit Bryant-Denny Stadium. Do the Hogs stand a chance? Trey Biddy weighs in next.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Just got a wreck in Decatur on Point Mallard Parkway, right at the entrance to Target. That one's got some northbound blockage. It's coming in as a no injury. Everything else should be clear accident-wise. We did have utility damage, though. Todd Mill and Canstatt, they've had that intersection pretty well closed down. Do your methods to lose weight no longer work for you? 7 different hormones in the body can make it impossible for you to lose weight. Find out with a free quiz at 2030huntsville.com. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
It's not just boughs of holly that are going to deck your halls this holiday season. It's you decking the whole house with outdoor lights and holiday decor from the Home Depot. Fill your yard with Yuletide treasure like a hand-painted LED reindeer sculpture. Want to build a snowman? You can, with our 6-foot sparkling snowman covered in lights. You can even pair it with a Disney inflatable Sven. You know, from the movie your kids still watch 3 times a day. 'Tis the season to make things jolly, and the Home Depot has everything you need to make the holidays yours. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Everybody knows the fun begins when you get to the end zone, where you can enjoy half-price apps every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, half-price burgers every Tuesday, plus late-night pizza specials and a spectacular menu that includes jumbo wings, half-pound burgers, Tex-Mex, and an incredible selection of craft beer, and plenty of big-screen TVs. It's all happening at the end zone, 1851 University Drive, 2030 Cecil Ashburn at Jones Valley Station, and coming in early 2022, Mid-City End Zone at 1115 McMurtry next to the Target Shopping Center.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked the reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
Tom Abraham here from my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
Looking for a great deal? Well, I've got one for you. Tom Abraham here for Valley Equipment Rental. And at Valley Equipment, if you rent after 3 on a Friday or on a Saturday morning, you're not due back until Monday morning. So basically, you're getting the entire weekend for the price of one day. And if you're in the service or are a vet, they'll knock another 10% off. Valley Equipment is locally owned and involved in our community through charities and even supporting local teams. And soon, they'll have a second location to handle even more equipment. Stay tuned for info on where that will be and when it will open.
Roll Tide, War Eagle, and yeah, you, the Vols fan. We got it all covered on the Tom Abraham Show.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is Eli Gold, voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now more of Talkin Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on your home for Crimson Tide Sports 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Roll Tide.
In the zone, Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you this morning. And you look at the SEC schedule this week, this is how it shapes up. Top-ranked Georgia going to have their hands full, and I mean they're going to have their hands full on Saturday. They've got Charleston Southern inside Sanford Stadium, do the Georgia Bulldogs. 16th-ranked Texas A&M going to have their hands full. They have mighty Prairie View A&M out of the SWAC Conference, 11 a.m. kick. Mississippi State, Drew, has Eddie George and company coming to town as Tennessee State will come into Starkville. Kentucky has mighty New Mexico State on Saturday. The Wildcats are a 36-point favorite in that one. Missouri welcomes Florida. Florida is an 8.5-point favorite on the road. Auburn, a 7.5-point favorite over South Carolina on the road. Ole Miss is a 36.5-point favorite over Vanderbilt on Saturday. Tennessee is a 28-point favorite over South Alabama. And LSU is a 29-point favorite over Terry Bowden and company, UL Monroe.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Louisiana.
That is
Monroe.
Terry Bowden, right?
Yeah.
Terry Bowden.
And Rich Rod.
Rich Rodriguez.
Yeah. That's going to be an interesting one with LSU. That's all I'll say. It'll be interesting to see how motivated the Tigers are. Because really, they've played better. They haven't just melded in. I thought when Kentucky just flattened them in Lexington that they had given up.
Right.
But they played Alabama to the limit, and they lose 20-14. And then they lose last week to Arkansas 16-13 in the Battle of the Boot. So they certainly have not melded in. This would make Terry Bowden's first season at Monroe. But I would think LSU is going to handle business, but it's still interesting.
Well, Terry Bowden right now 4-6.
Yeah, it hasn't been bad
at UL Monroe, and they couldn't get out of their own way. But they have a chance if they do win their final two to get bowl eligible. They got to beat LSU and Louisiana Lafayette or Louisiana.
Yeah,
which is probably not going to happen in his first year. But Terry Bowden probably doing some of his best coaching that he's done in a long time.
I mean, that's a tough place to win.
Yeah, it is.
Louisiana Monroe.
It is. Auburn, South Carolina. Auburn is a 7.5-point favorite over South Carolina in what will be T.J. Finley's first start for the Auburn Tigers.
Yeah, I want to see how Auburn responds to the turd they laid. I mean, they were playing so well, and then everything went south. You lose Bo Nix, who's had a good year for you. Made a lot of plays, and he played exceptional football in that last game, even though he was hurt, with 377 yards, 2 touchdowns. Defensively, they've got some questions to answer. You know, Jake Crane joined us this week, talked about what Derek Mason was doing. He actually said they have been bad for most of the year. He has not been impressed with Derek Mason's scheme. So, you know, are they going to show up against South Carolina? We've already seen Florida mail one in Columbia and get destroyed. I mean, Auburn should win that game. I think they're, about a 7-point favorite?
They are 7.5-point favorite right now. The over-under in the Auburn,
it's not
South
much.
Carolina.
Not even 40, is it?
44.5.
Oh, it is up to 44.5?
44.5 is the over-under for the Auburn
And,
game.
I mean, T.J. Finley beat this team last year, but he's with a different squad with the Auburn Tigers. He fumbled late in that game against Mississippi State. He's going to have to protect the ball. They're going to have to run it with T.J. Finley, Jarquez Hunter, and those guys. Going to be really interested to see what kind of effort we see out of Auburn before the Iron Bowl.
All right, so that is your SEC slate of games that is going on right now. Obviously, the one that'll be on our air on 97.7 ESPN The Zone will come from Bryant-Denny Stadium. That is second-ranked Alabama taking on 21st-ranked Arkansas. The Tide, 20.5-point favorites over
I don't
Arkansas.
have them covering. I've got them 35-17. Nick Saban, you talked about it earlier in the show. He was on the Nick Saban show here on 97.7 The Zone last night, basically putting out his mantra of respect this team. We've got to be physical. We've got to be ready to play because they will punch you in the face, punch you in the mouth. No doubt about that. Sam Pittman's teams are not soft. They're never going to be. They're always going to be physical. And the thing I've been talking about, Scott, is they have 99 on scholarship due to the COVID year. They've got 13 super seniors. So they're very experienced, especially on defense. Nick Saban saying last night that Barry Odom was probably a guy he had some of the most respect for defensively in the league. And so we're going to talk to Trey Biddy in a few minutes from hogsports.com and get his thoughts. But this is an Arkansas team that's 7-3 and could easily be, 8-2. Remember, Scott, they went for 2 at the end of the Ole Miss game in Oxford and lost that game 52-51. So if they had won that game,
right.
Technically this could have been for the Western Division. They would have been playing to try to get to Atlanta and get the tiebreaker over Alabama. Now, they've lost that game. They've lost 3 conference games, and they were lucky fortunate, I should say, to escape at home against Mississippi State due to the kicking game issues where Mike Leach called for an open tryout. But still, I mean, they've been a really improved program under Sam Pittman. His first year, they made a lot of strides, even though they didn't finish the year the way they wanted. They've had an experienced group this year. They've been competitive in just about every game except for the Georgia game. They lost that one in Athens 37-0. But when you look at their worksheet and and the grit they've played with and the effort and the tenacity, I mean, you got to have a lot of respect for Arkansas, and they certainly started the downward spiral for Texas, thrashing them early on in Fayetteville.
All right, so that is a look around the SEC. Hey, Tennessee can get bowl eligible this weekend.
They got to. I mean, I predicted this. If
they got to beat South Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, if they beat South Alabama and then the worst program in the SEC, Vanderbilt, then you're 7-5 and he should be getting some Coach of the Year votes. But then if Lincoln Riley were to take the offer from LSU, whether it's legit or not, if I'm a Tennessee fan, I'd get a little nervous after that. That's all I'd say.
All right, so obviously Nick Saban will be in the SEC Coach of the Year conversation because of everybody that they lost. I mean, people will not vote for Nick Saban because they're probably tired of giving it to Nick Saban.
I agree. To this year, it's either got to be.
But who would you look at? Would you
talking
look
about
at
SEC Coach of the Year?
Yeah, would you look at Mark Stoops? Would you look at Josh Heupel?
I would look. Josh Heupel would get my first vote. And,
Sam Pittman?
And my second vote would be Kirby Freeze.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, you're undefeated.
True. Undefeated, yeah.
I mean, you have to. I mean, you have to give them
credit.
And they've already finished their SEC schedule.
Would you give Sam Pittman some attention?
Well, he'd probably be in the top 3 or 4. I mean, I think you have to give him a lot of credit for I would say right now the top 4 would be here. The way I'd vote it, I would vote Josh Heupel number 1. I would vote Kirby Freeze number 2. I would vote number 3 probably Lane Kiffin, and then Sam Pittman number 4. Only because Lane Kiffin beat Sam Pittman, and Ole Miss has a legit chance to win 10 games in the regular season. I mean, they do.
All right, 256-576-4977. Who would be, with 2 weeks left to go in the SEC regular season, who would be your Coach of the Year right now in the SEC? 256-576-4977. Would you give it to Kirby Smart? Would you give it to Josh Heupel? Who would you give your Coach of the Year award to right now in the SEC? 256-576-4977. That is the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. And I'm just looking here. We also will have another weekend. And this is the greatest time of the year because you can blend sports. You can blend things in. We will have another busy weekend of college basketball. The SEC non-conference slate is coming out. Last night, Florida got by Milwaukee. South Carolina got by UAB by only 3, 66-63.
Yeah, and South Carolina had already fallen earlier in the season to Princeton, so they need to get some wins.
Marquette got by Kermit Davis and Ole Miss. Marquette on the road. Now that is
Shaka
Smart. Yeah, he's got Marquette off to a 4-0 start. LSU 85, McNeese 46, and Missouri over Northern Illinois 54-37. All right.
Flop performance.
What did we do? What did we do? What did we do to deserve?
He's probably want to brag on his daughter. She did just score 1,000 point the other day.
He did.
JP2.
But now my mind is wondering, though, what mental thing did we mess up?
Yeah. What's up, Charlie?
Y'all didn't mess it up. You got it right, Drew.
I did.
Josh Heupel deal.
Yeah.
I think it's the most phenomenal coaching job I've seen lately. He had everything taken away from him, his hands tied behind his back, and he has a team that fights hard and fights to the end. Just a tremendous job. He's my Coach of the Year.
I would agree with that, Charlie. I think with losing over 30 guys into the portal, and they've had some injuries this year too. They don't have a lot of depth. But, the way they've played, beating Kentucky the way they did, I mean, their defense, everybody knows they've got issues. They gave up 600-plus yards in that game. But to only have I don't even think they had the football 15 minutes, but to score 45 points. And the performance they've got out of Hendon Hooker, who's probably been one of the top 4 quarterbacks in the SEC. And again, they had their backfield as far as tailback. They've had a lot of injuries there, so and all on the offensive line, so it's affected the running game at times. But they've got a chance to go 7-5 and go to a decent bowl game, maybe play against Dabo, put another knot on his head. So they got a chance to win 8 games in year 1, which I think would be a tremendous success.
Well, you just look at the body language and the energy on the sideline. That speaks to me about the coaching staff and the fact that they have them controlling what they can control. And they can't control the talent that's gone and all of that, but they are absolutely making the most of what they've got.
Mm-hmm. I would agree there. I think right now it's going to be interesting to see how they build on it, and if what happens with this Oklahoma situation. If Lincoln Riley stays in Norman, then I think everything's fine. But with Josh Heupel being a prominent alum, being a guy that was under Bob Stoops, under Bob Stoops for many, many years as an offensive assistant and OC as well, and winning the Heisman, or nearly, winning the Heisman Trophy. They ended up winning the national title in his year there as a starter. But certainly, Josh Heupel's done a remarkable job, and you'd like to see what he can do in the future at Tennessee.
Yeah, I just thought I'd throw my 2 cents worth in there. I think you got that absolutely right.
Appreciate it, Charlie.
Have a great day.
Thanks,
man.
Charlie.
All right. Hey, I want to get one golf note out there real fast.
Go ahead, yeah.
The PGA Tour taking course in the RGM or the RSM Classic from Sea Island, Georgia. And our good friend Lee Hodges. He's going to tee off his round 2 at 9:20 this morning. Mm-hmm. He is tied for 10th at 7 under 65. This is Lee Hodges playing on the PGA Tour.
Mm-hmm.
The big boys. Stuart Sink,
University of Alabama,
fired a 4 under. He's in 54th place. But good luck to our good friend Lee Hodges.
Been good to us, been on the show.
Yep, who will start the day in 10th place in the RSM Classic. Had to get that in there. Charlie triggered that in my mind. He didn't tell me. It's just
that's what he did. He played a mental trick on you.
He played a mental trick on me for me to mention Lee Hodges.
Nice.
I know. All right, let's get a break in because Trey Biddy will let us know if Arkansas can pull off the upset inside Bryant-Denny Stadium.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Got a wreck on Moore's Mill. This one's going to be south of Countess, coming in with injuries. Got a couple in Decatur, one on Point Mallard Parkway at Indian Hills, the other on Point Mallard at the entrance to Target. And we got Old Monrovia in Providence, Maine. That one's coming in as a no injury. Snelling has immediate need for experienced materials handlers for a premier government contractor. First shift at $14.50 an hour plus overtime. Huntsville.snelling.com. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
It's another big week of high school football for us here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Quarterfinal action in 4A football is set to kick it up Friday night as the Madison Academy Mustangs travel to Good Hope and a berth in the semifinals is on the line. It's Raiders and Mustangs coming up this Friday on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
At Bryant Bank, we believe your goals are worth chasing, and every step along the way is worth celebrating. From your hopes for the future to the challenges that keep you up at night, we're here for you. Bryant Bankers put care into action to help you live legendary by stepping up when you need us most and doing what's right, even when no one is watching. Come experience a local bank whose people greet you by name and treat you like family. Bryant Bank, member FDIC.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
You know that there are some words that have really messed up our world. The devil, way back in Genesis, said, "Has God really said?" Unfortunately, we often listen to those words of the devil. We question God's word. We often doubt God's goodness, and we make a mess of ourselves and so many others. Hey, let's honor the word of God for what it is. It is God's word. Let's follow it and be blessed by it. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of Cross Point Church, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison, and check us out at cpcfamily.org.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, here letting you know we are proud supporters of Madison Academy football. Stop into the University Kia today and shop our large selection of new Kias, including the all-new Telluride 8-passenger SUV, the stylish new K5, and sporty new Seltos. Visit universitykia.com to view all our great offers and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia today, because we want to see you in a Kia. Go Mustangs!
In today's real estate market, you need the right professionals to help make sure your home purchase is smooth and hassle-free. That's where Jacob Title comes in. Stan McDonald and the staff at Jacob Title cater to the realtor and clients who are looking for a top-flight closing experience. Jacob Title uses the latest and best technologies to ensure a safe and secure exchange of funds, and they pride themselves on great communication well before and during the real estate closing process. Jacob Title in Huntsville and Madison, and online at jacobtitle.com. When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, "You need a new roof." Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
This segment of Talkin Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com. It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Welcome back to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Coming up tomorrow, the Alabama Crimson Tide take on 21st-ranked Arkansas inside Bryant-Denny Stadium. You'll be able to hear that game right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. 2:30 kickoff for that one. Don't forget the Crimson Tide Sports Network right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Alabama comes in a 20.5-point favorite over Arkansas. But, Drew, we all think this one's going to be a lot closer than what they give the spread.
Well, I think that's too big a number, certainly. I have a lot of respect for what Sam Pittman's done. Really been a remarkable job in just 2 short seasons. I mean, they're one play away from being an 8-2 football team. And they, as we said earlier, they would be playing for the Western Division Championship potentially this weekend against Alabama. If they had been able to win that game, they would have put themselves in position to potentially beat Alabama, get the tiebreaker, and have a remarkable run to get a rematch with Georgia. I know that's the one game this year where they really struggled against an elite program, but they certainly have played exceptional football under Sam Pittman. They're coming off of ending a 5-game losing streak to LSU, winning in Red Stick 16-13. They trounced Texas earlier this year. They beat Texas A&M 20-10 to end that losing streak. They just started a lot of positive energy coming out of Fayetteville. And the one guy that I love following, his walk and talks are outstanding. Even when he does it in his neighborhood, when it's pitch black, he pulls it off. And that's Trey Biddy, and he is the publisher and the editor for hogsports.com, part of the 24/7 Sports Network, and he's with us now. Trey, thank you for the time. I know it's a busy one, but happy Thanksgiving to your family, and we look forward to talking some hogs with you this morning.
Well, I appreciate that. When I first came on, I was like, wow, the money's going Alabama's way. 36 points.
Yeah, I was looking at the Kentucky one and was trying to say the Alabama one at the same time, and I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
No, it's 25.5. Yeah, 25.
Yeah, it was huge. And Trey, I know that win meant a lot to Arkansas last week, beating LSU, ending that streak. This has been a team that's taken on a physical mantra, and we've heard Nick Saban all week preaching. I think he's talking to his team through the media, telling them they have to have their minds right because, Arkansas is not going to reinvent the wheel, but they know who they are. There's a lot of experience on this team, 13 super seniors that I know you've mentioned many times, and this is an Arkansas team that's extremely hard-nosed. It's going to be a physical game inside Bryant-Denny Stadium tomorrow.
It could be. We'll see how things play out. Arkansas has to come out and play well early. I think that's going to be a key part of that. You mentioned the Georgia game earlier. I think the Georgia game for them was just kind of a new experience, having coming off the COVID year where you really weren't on the road yet with this coaching staff. You were on the road, but you were playing in front of 16,000 people, just not huge crowds or anything. And I think it caught them off guard a little bit. They jumped off sides their first 2 possessions right in front of the student section. Student section was going nuts and just were never in the game. So it's going to be key for Arkansas in this one to score earlier, to get a stop earlier, to get some confidence going. Because, straight up, you put these teams down side by side. If Alabama plays at their best and Arkansas plays at their best, and Arkansas is not going to win the game. They're going to have to take some chances, maybe blitz a little bit more, hope for some turnovers here and there, and maybe that they have a shot at the end. Now, the difference there when you get to the end of the game is that Alabama, as I always say, is the king of the slow death. You think you're playing with them, and then the depth starts to take effect, and they start making plays. Third quarter rolls around, and suddenly they start putting some points on you and separating. So it probably would be important for Arkansas also if they're going to win the game to get a lead at some point and not be a battle where they try to come back or something. But they are significant underdogs, whether it's 36 points or 20.5 points. That's a pretty significant underdog, and we'll see. I think they have a shot to play them well. I've actually picked them to cover that point spread, the 20.5. But you never know. It's nobody's going to pick Arkansas to beat Alabama,
right?
But it happens. You look at the top 10 every year, and there's people who might pick a top 10 team to lose, and people will be like, "Oh, are you an idiot? What are you talking about?" But when we get to the end of the season, all of those teams have lost to somebody, and a lot of them have lost to somebody you wouldn't have expected them to lose to. And even the team that wins the national championship oftentimes have one loss on their record. So things can happen in college football. Houston Nutt, his favorite quote of mine was, "That ball don't bounce straight up and down." And that's very true in football. There's, the ball bounces funny, and there's a lot of people out there, and a lot of things can go wrong. That's why discipline is so important in football. But a lot of things can happen. So, and Arkansas would need them to happen to be able to pull off the upset.
But the thing I think is, though, I think this is a credit to what Sam Pittman has done.
Yeah.
Is the fact that Arkansas is traveling to Alabama. While we don't think Arkansas ultimately can get the win unless they do and play a perfect game, there is that feeling that, hey, this Arkansas team can challenge Alabama in certain areas, whereas before it was just coming to the slaughter and go home.
Right, and that's how you're exactly right. That's how it's been. And this game's in Tuscaloosa, too. That isn't lost on me at all, how difficult it is to win in Bryant-Denny Stadium. But, Arkansas has a very mature football team, and that was something that we said at the beginning of the season, that's maybe an area where they can close the gap, maybe on teams that had a lot of players who were juniors that left for the NFL that maybe have 5 stars, but they're 19 or 20 years old, whereas Arkansas has guys that are 23, even 24 years old now on this team because they're super seniors. They had 11 players come back who were super seniors, and they added 2 more defensive linemen for Missouri. So they've got a lot of maturity on this team, and again, it should help them close the gap a little bit. There's a big difference between a guy who's 24 and 20 years old, so in a lot of cases anyway. So maybe that's something that can help them close the gap. Arkansas has to clean up penalties. They've been a pretty high penalty team. You can't go on the road and commit a lot of penalties. Obviously, you got to protect the football, win the turnover battle. Special teams has actually been – hold on, sorry, guys. I got an alarm going off. No worries. Sorry about that. But special teams has been really solid for them the last few weeks, really, after a pretty rocky start. And those are always big keys to victories: turnover, special teams, penalties, and the injury factor. And if you're given a 5th key to victory, our man Curtis Wilkerson always does the 5 keys to victory every week, and we always include those 4. And then we add a bonus, and the bonus would have to be a little bit of luck. Arkansas would need a little bit of luck to win this one.
How has the defense adjusted without arguably the best safety in the SEC? Jalen Catalon's been out. But I will say this: the secondary stepped up and won the game in Red Stick.
Well, you don't replace Jalen Catalon. He's just a difference maker. He's a preseason All-American. I think he's the best Arkansas safety in 20 years, or maybe more. Maybe you go back to Steve Adwater. So that was a blow. But they have recruited really well at safety. They brought in, I can think of a stretch of like a decade where they didn't bring in a single 4-star safety, and then they started breaking them in. And Miles Slusher is one of those guys. And Slusher was hurt in fall camp. He was hurt and wasn't really able to get out on the field. And it kind of worked out in a way. It didn't work out. Obviously, you'd like to have both of them. But in terms of if you're going to have an injury, Slusher started getting healthy about the same time that Jalen Catalon, decided he needed to go ahead and have surgery on his shoulder. So he wasn't totally healthy yet, but he's just starting to get healthy, and he's played really well. He had a big interception against LSU Saturday, and he's a guy that was really highly regarded. He was the number 2 ranked player in the state of Oklahoma when Arkansas got him, so that was a big get in Sam Pittman's first recruiting class, and he's played well. Malik Chavis has also emerged as a younger player that's back there helping at safety also. And they've got a good number of guys. Simeon Blair has a lot of experience. Joe Fouché is a multi-year starter at safety. They usually play 3. So they've got some guys back there. But obviously you lost an All-American. You don't just replace him. But they've got some quality players. Yeah, they really do. And how do you expect Barry Odom to kind of attack Alabama? Bryce Young's been really good. It's not as explosive as a receiver core as we saw, in previous seasons, even though Jamison Williams has had a heck of a year. But how do you kind of expect Arkansas to try to contain Alabama? Alabama had a lot of trouble running the football a couple of weeks ago against that same LSU defense that you guys saw last week. Right. LSU's got more speed than Arkansas does on defense, maybe a little stouter overall. Arkansas may have a little more overall discipline, maybe a little bit more experience, savvy, I guess you could say. And LSU's been, beaten up with injuries and all that kind of stuff. And Arkansas has been relatively healthy aside from Jalen Catalon. So I would expect Arkansas to roll the dice a little bit more. Last week was the first time we saw them, mix it up with 3- and 4-man fronts. Usually it's either been, hey, we're going 3-man fronts against this team, or we're going 4-man fronts against this team. And I don't know why, but they just haven't mixed it up. And they did last week. They brought more pressure, and especially compared to the previous week when they played Mississippi State and they just dropped 8 the whole time, and try to keep everything in front of them. So it's just different styles of offense, And I would think Alabama on the road, you roll the dice more, you blitz more, you try to rattle Bryce Young if you can. I would say you probably do some risk-reward type stuff and hope you come out on the side of reward versus punishment for bringing extra pressure. And then with KJ Jefferson, really efficient, 17 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He's a load. He can run the football well. I know he was banged up a little bit earlier in the season,
Certainly, the running game has become multifaceted. And then Traylon Burks. I still think he may be the most talented wide receiver in the SEC. How do you kind of see this Arkansas offense matching up against this Alabama defense that's been really good against the run, but has been susceptible at times to giving up chunk plays through the air?
Right. So Arkansas excels on chunk plays. KJ throws a really nice deep ball. Now, LSU did every single thing imaginable to take away Traylon Burks, and it should have opened up some other things. Blitzing and things that they did with LSU. Arkansas, called a lot of screen plays, and they didn't work because they didn't block them, but those screen plays should have been there. So if Alabama brings pressure, I'm sure they probably put a lot of work into the screen game this week because you go back and watch the video, they're just missing blocks, and they should have really made LSU pay several times on the screen for blitzing so much. And also they probably should have thrown up some more 50-50 type balls to Traylon Burks. And, with Burks, it's more like an 80-20 ball. I mean, he's a special wide receiver. I think he's the best receiver that Arkansas has had, definitely since I've been covering him, and there's been some really good ones that have come through here. But I think from a physical standpoint, when you look at his size, his speed, his approach, his attitude, all that stuff, I think he's probably the most gifted receiver that Arkansas has had. And, I think that Arkansas struggled a little bit with LSU's speed getting to the edge, and so that may be something that they consider how to attack that a little bit differently. They do a lot of counters and have had success with that, but running up the middle with Dominic Johnson, who goes about 6'1", 235, and then KJ, of course. KJ, he's gotten better and better throwing the ball in the short and intermediate throws. He's always been good throwing the deep ball, but against LSU, it just with the screen game not working and then blitzing so much, it just became KJ Jefferson's the offense. Him buying time, him avoiding sacks. He probably avoided 5 or 6 sacks Saturday just from broken tackles. So him kind of ad-libbing and buying extra time in the scramble game and, him running and those kinds of things can be an offense for Arkansas if things start breaking down.
Really can. And and Trey, as we wrap it up with you, with the Hogs, how is I know their special teams has been an issue. It was against Georgia. How is, in your mind, have they evolved during the season so far?
It has gotten a lot better, and they had a punt return for a touchdown. It was against UAPB, but Arkansas hadn't had a punt return for a touchdown since the 2010 season in the Cotton Bowl against Kansas State. That's how long it's been, Joe Adams. So they did get a punt return then, and they've been really solid with Cameron Little. He was the number 1 ranked kicker prospect in the country in the class of 2021, and he has been really, really clutch, especially these last couple of weeks. He's been called on a lot in the LSU game. Obviously, he had some clutch for field goals, and then they ran a fake. I can't remember when Arkansas has had a successful fake, but they ran a fake for 23-yard pickup against LSU that when they were lining up for a 54-yard field goal, and ended up having to settle for a field goal, but it was a lot more makeable, obviously, due to the fake. And they had a nice punt return Saturday early in the game to set them up for their first score. So there's special teams has actually been a win for Arkansas these last couple of weeks, Mississippi State and LSU, but they absolutely needed that to continue because early in the year they had a couple punts blocked. I mean, they were struggling early in the year, but it's gotten better.
No doubt. Well, follow hogsports.com for full coverage, blowout coverage of the Razorbacks, and, of course, Trey's outstanding coverage with he and his staff and Curtis Wilkerson, who's been good to us. Really appreciate the time, sir.
Well, thanks for having me, guys.
All right, thanks, Trey. All right, well, that's going to do it for our 2 hours of Talking Ball. Don't forget, coming up tonight, Madison Academy, Good Hope, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. And then 2:30 tomorrow, Arkansas, Alabama. UAH basketball tips off on Saturday. We'll have 4 p.m. coverage of that. You'll be able to listen to that on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone 2. Head to your App Store, Marketplace. Download the 97.7 ESPN, The Zone app today.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners,